Good evening. It's now time to call our meeting of the Bullitt County Board of Commissioners to order. I would like to welcome the media and visitors. I'd also like to remind everyone to silence their cell phones and other electronic devices so that we may conduct the people's business without interruption. Commissioner Ray Davis, will you give the invocation and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
May we pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for the blessings of our country, the United States of America. We ask you to bless the wisdom of our decision and leaders to make this a safe place to live. Please continue to bless our county, our neighborhoods, and our communities in the decisions we as commissioners make for the people of Bullitt County. Most of all, we ask for your forgiveness for our many sins. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Mitzi White, will you call the roll of the commissioners, please?
Yes, sir. I, Venus Mitzi White, present as clerk of the Board of Commissioners of Bullitt County, hereby call the roll for those on the governing body. All those present shall answer by saying aye. Chairman David Bennett.
Aye.
Commissioner Anthony Simmons.
Aye.
Commissioner Ray Mosley.
Aye.
Commissioner Toby Connor. Commissioner Nick Newkirk.
Aye.
Commissioner Timmy Rushing.
Aye.
And Commissioner Ray Davis.
Aye.
I've determined we have 6 members of the Board of Commissioners present. Therefore, we have a quorum to conduct business for the good of the citizens of Bullitt County. I know you have the floor back to you, Chairman.
Thank you. Before we go any further, I got a little bit of housekeeping I need to do with the start of the new year. By ordinance, we are supposed to announce the names of some key staff here. Before I do that, I want to thank Commissioner Toby Connor for standing in as the vice chair of the county commission for the last year. And just announce that for this coming year, Commissioner Anthony Simmons will be the vice chair. Good luck. So along with that, I'm just going to go ahead and announce these. Our previous ordinance says that you're supposed to announce the county manager, the county attorney, and the county auditor. We made some text amendment changes through the year that broke that down where all we had to do was announce the vice chair. However, our documents have not been published by Q Public, so it still shows the old document. So I'm just going to name them all, and that way we've got all our bases covered. So our county manager is Chris Eldridge, if he still chooses to do it. This is an at-will state, and he hasn't opted to leave yet. So, and I did verify with Mr. Jeff Akins that he still wants to remain the county attorney for the time being. And then our county auditor of record is Lanier Deal and Deal CPAs here in Statesboro. So with that being said, we'll move into our zoning agenda for the evening. And before I entertain a motion to approve the zoning agenda, do we have any discussion or modification desired by the county manager of the board? Okay, hearing no discussion, I'm going to call for a motion that we approve the agenda as it stands.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All in favor? That was Mr. Simmons. And the motion carries unanimously. And with that being said, I believe, Mr. Pope, you're up to bat.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Commissioners. Our first agenda item is a rezone request by Frank and Floyd Bunch, who have submitted an application to rezone approximately 3 acres from an Ag 5 zoning to a general commercial zone for the purpose of operating a contractor office. The property is located on Eiler Road. Eiler Road is generally located where that star is on the map, South Bullitt County. Red Hill Church Road is really the crossroads nearby. As you can see, this is the current zoning for the property and surrounding parcels. Isler Road is a county-maintained dirt road. Red Hill Church Road is county-maintained paved road. And the property seeking to be rezoned has one structure which was previously used as a single-family home, and the applicant is asking to use that single-family structure as a contractor office, in which the site plan as provided by the applicant would anticipate some area behind the office structure to park, I think, up to three dump trucks. And staff recommends a denial of the rezone request. However, we do recommend a few conditions if approval is granted. And the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval by a 4-1 vote. And this is the structure, or this is the property looking south into the property. This is Isler Road. Again, the road frontage is completely on Isler Road. And we do have a condition, our condition number 1, I believe, that says, addresses some of the, some slight road improvements to the parcel if approval was granted by the commission. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll entertain any questions the board may have, or I will ask for the applicant to step up to the podium.
Are there any questions from the Board of Commissioners? Okay. Go ahead and get the applicant to come forward.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Leslie West. I'm the agent for the Bunches. And what it is we're looking to open a small contractor office in the green up at the front. It's basically utilizing an existing home to have myself, a superintendent, and potentially another person later when work arrives or we feel warrant to need one, and have a little paved or gravel asphalt milling driveway coming to the back, a parking area for 3 dump trucks and potentially a lowboy trailer just to store our stuff there. Basically, our work hours are from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. We try to stay out of there on the weekends and spend time with our family. We have 3 dump trucks, and due to the narrowness at the other end of Isler Road, our access would be come out of our driveway and turn to the right toward Red Hill and go out that direction to minimize traffic in front of any residences, and plus it's real narrow down there so nobody can pass. But that's basically what we're proposing to do with this property here.
Is there anybody that signed up to speak in opposition? Okay. So I'm going to defer back to the Board of Commissioners if you have any questions or comments you'd like to make.
Might not really be for you, but James, if this was to pass and zone, will it always be zoned that way, or as long as there's a contractor's office there, it'll be like that? Does it revert back at all if they move out or anything, or will it always be there?
It would stay general commercial. We could add a condition on there to limit it to a contractor's office where you're essentially tying up the use, so other general commercial uses would not be allowed if they were to leave that property.
I guess my concern is just out in the middle of the country, and I hate to get it, I mean, I don't have an issue with the contractor's office at all. It's just what happens in 5 years. So that would be my only concern there. I might be the only one, though.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Mr. Davis.
You are agreeable with the 4 conditions that are placed upon this, correct?
Yes, the milled surface or asphalt milling for the surface. The question that I did have is we've had conversation about instead of a deposit, a maintenance bond for a period of a year for that. instead of a deposit to the county. I think that was number 2.
I think it would, might just ask Ron Nelson, because he would have to kind of make sure that the project gets delivered. If the county would rather have deposited funds and go through the county to do the work, or in this case, the applicant could do the work and just get an encroachment permit. Ron, do you have a?
Ron Nelson, County Engineer. So in our conversations that we did have, we discussed the idea of having potentially a maintenance bond on the road once they do the work. And I would advocate on behalf, they are a GDOT pre-qualified contractor, and they're pre-qualified in the areas of grading, subgrade construction, and aggregate construction as well. So that would fit the scope of what we're asking them to do along Isla Road. And then having that maintenance bond after the fact would give us a 1-year guarantee. So if anything takes place that we need to have refurbished during the course of that first year, I think it's good to put the burden on this gentleman right here and his group, and that's what I would actually recommend.
Does that answer your question? Okay. Any other comments, questions? If not, I'm gonna call for a motion on this.
Mr. Chairman, I have one. Well, in light of what you just said, does that need to be added to the condition, the maintenance bond?
Yes, sir, I would say that. Is that right, James?
Yeah, I think, because y'all have had discussion since planning and zoning, so if you want to just change deposit the required funds to require a 20% maintenance bond, that agreeable?
Yes, 20% of the cost. So if it's agreeable, I mean, I could coordinate with the applicant and just better understand what that fee is going to look like as far as the cost and coordinate those activities, because we'd be interested in knowing what work's being performed on our county maintained road anyway.
I was just saying that the maintenance bond, so you're saying, James, revise condition 2 to require a 20% maintenance bond per year?
Correct. So that,
Okay.
Why would it only be for a year? I mean, if it's heavy truck traffic, isn't gonna, I mean, if it's a daily use with dump trucks, I mean, isn't that what the concern is? Parking and driving back and forth over dirt road?
yes, that was our primary concern. Now, those improvements, again, I'll defer to Ron on making that recommendation, or to the county manager, but
Now, in our conversations, we actually were talking graded aggregate base originally, and our minimum for the county is 6 inches. So they actually offered up to do recycled asphalt concrete millings. That becomes installed after a 1-year cycle during the course of the heat that we receive in the summer. That typically, especially with equipment riding across it, it comes together and gels and makes a very good, substantial road surface. So that was my reasoning for 1 year versus anything beyond, the 4 seasons of a year.
Right. I did my dirt road tour with Mitch a couple weeks ago, so I heard about heavy truck traffic, especially logging operations and what they do to our roads, so with this storing heavy equipment back there, I figured it's gonna be a continual traffic.
Well, as of right now, the deposit, how long does that, because there's no timeline in that number 2, the deposit, if you went with the deposit, how long were we planning on holding that deposit? Is that there's no time frame on that one? Was there a time frame?
it would typically be up to the engineering department to deliver that project. So I guess whenever they could get started on it.
So essentially, the deposit would have been what the cost of the road would be to make those improvements. So we would get the cost, put it in the bank, hire somebody, and then exhaust the funds.
So that route, we wouldn't have any warranty on the road at all?
That's correct.
Okay, so the maintenance bond, we'd at least have a year warranty on it?
That's correct.
Okay.
May I read what I wrote down then? It's, the applicant should be required to post a maintenance bond in the amount of 20% for 1 year after completion of the improvements. Does that accurately state what you're,
Yes, sir, that's correct.
okay?
Okay, so I think we're back to calling for a motion here.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept this rezoning with the conditions, including the maintenance bond.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 2 tonight is a conditional use for the same property as agenda item 1. Frank and Floyd Bunch have also submitted the application for the conditional use, which is to operate a contractor's office. Staff recommended denial of the conditional use. However, we do have conditions that were recommended. Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval by 4-1 vote. And same pictures as before. So, really, 2 conditions that were recommended by staff. But with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Chairman.
Does the representative agent want to come back up and discuss this anymore?
I don't really have anything else to say.
Okay. How about the board? Is any questions or comments?
Are you okay with the 2 conditions that we have? The traffic egress and the no aggregate material stored?
That's right, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? All right, hearing none, I'm going to call for a motion.
Second, with condition.
Okay, the motion is to approve with conditions. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right, agenda item 3 is an application by Southeastern Property Acquisitions LLC, who has submitted the application to rezone approximately 1.7 acres from an R25 residential 25,000 square foot minimum zoning to a highway commercial zone. And is for the purpose of creating for a general business. The property is located on Veterans Memorial Parkway. This would be generally to the southwest side of Statesboro. The closest crossroads there is Cypress Lake Road and Veterans Memorial Parkway. The parcel highlighted in blue, this is the property that we're looking at. In this case, the next agenda item will be the smaller portion just to the south of this, south and adjacent to the parcel. Again, with the area zoning, you have City of Statesboro on, I guess that would be the west side, the northwest side of this property. And the city has gone ahead and approved a zoning or rezoning for a planned development, which would include a large box retail or grocery store, which I believe may be Kroger, and some out parcels. The general use of this property would be as an out parcel to the greater planned development. Current access is on Veterans Memorial Parkway. Any improvement or additional access onto the bypass would go through Department of Transportation with the state. The site plan is shown here. As you see, most of the traffic would be coming from the planned development, which is in the city, onto Cypress Lake Road. So it's kind of an odd situation to, you don't typically see this where the one development is in the city and county. However, due to Georgia annexation laws, the city was unable to annex this portion. So for them to use this property in a commercial way, that's why they're here at the county. We do have some conditions that would address, I guess, the mechanics of public safety response. It would require some action by, I believe, both boards, city and county, for an intergovernmental agreement to decide who responds to a fire call, or, you know, some of those services that public safety would need to respond to. But with that being said, staff recommends approval of the rezone request, and Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval. And Planning and Zoning Commission, in discussion with the applicant, had a few modified conditions from what the staff originally proposed. And so we styled our staff report a little different, where you see our recommendation is the main portion of the recommendations, that list of 17 conditions. And then Planning and Zoning Commission recommended removing condition number 2 and number 7, which I think the applicant will probably address as to why they would ask to remove those conditions. But staff maintains that sidewalks on the property would be required by the city of Statesboro for the greater balance of that planned development. And so that's why we left in our number 2 recommendation. I apologize that it's a little confusing, but we felt like it was important to make those recommendations. With that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Steve Rushing, who's acting as the agent tonight for the applicant.
Thank you,
Good evening,
James.
Mr. Rushing.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I am Steve Rushing, Commissioners. I'm attorney here in Statesboro. Tonight, I am representing the applicant, Southeastern Property Acquisitions, LLC. Its principals, being Daniel Holloway and Chris Sen, are both here with us tonight, along with our real estate agent and also a property owner there, Mr. Paul Newman. The first property here that we're bringing up before you, James referenced, containing 1.7 acres. Now, when you looked at the map, this parcel got split by the bypass. There's some on the north side and some on the south side. We are only looking, of course, on the north side, or the inside of the bypass, and that part contains roughly 1.7 acres. The little parcel that is our next application that will come up tonight is owned by Dennis Rhodes. It has 1.13 acres in it, but both of these parcels are under contract with our developers. And that's what brings us here tonight. We are requesting both parcels be rezoned to HC Highway Commercial in order that we might develop it as part of the site plan that was tendered with our applications. So my comments are going to really address both this one and the next one. They're identical. You'll note that these two parcels lie adjacent to 28.3 acres that are within the city limits of Statesboro that was just recently zoned MX mixed use with 4 conditions. In fact, we attempted to annex these 2 parcels into the city, and they researched it in depth and came back and said that because it would create an island for the Louisiana Pacific parcel that is behind these 2 parcels, it would create an island, but for some legal reasons, they could not annex it. So that is why we're here with a split zone. This whole project is roughly 90% within the city limits, and this one parcel, or these 2 parcels that combine for 2.83 acres is outside of the city within the county. We are looking to hook up to the city's infrastructure, water, sewer, gas. But all of this will be focused around, as James said, our big box, which apparently the word got out before now, but it is a Kroger grocery store, a rather large one, right at 100,000 square feet. But our parcel, if you look at the whole site plan, it is the northeast corner that says outlot number 1. So on the 2.83 acres that we have before you, it would have basically that out parcel number 1, which we don't have a project yet for this out parcel, but we are looking to market it along with these other out parcels for commercial use. There's also, we'll have our pylon sign right here in this same area, probably on these 2 lots. And part of the access road that you see on the design would also be on this 2.83 acres, and the rest of that access road is on the city side. But that is our plan. It's all part of one major development. The MX zone in the city does include some residential, but you'll notice that's all on the north side next to Whispering Pines. Everything from the grocery store towards Veterans is the commercial aspect of the property. But we're all going to be connected with these parcels and the whole project. So there will be roads internally. And so in addition to the access road to Veterans Memorial, there are some to Cypress Lake, as James said, that could access this parcel also. We are seeking the designation of general highway commercial. We assert that the standards of review do support our application. The principal standard, of course, it's compatibility with the surrounding uses of adjacent and nearby properties. If you look at the zoning map, maybe, James, you could flip back to the zoning map, you'll see a smorgasbord of zoning classifications in the general area, if you look around there. But there is already commercial uses between this tract and Highway 301 South. There's 2 car lots. There is a future hotel coming there. So it's already having commercial uses along Veterans Memorial. But if you go west, of course, the rest of our project first, but then just beyond that, you're back into the county again at on the other side of Cypress Lake, and that is already a highway commercial zone as well. I think there's and you can see it there in the top of the page. That's a tractor dealership or some implements. Also, the future land use plan through the Smart Bullock 45 assigns this area to the suburban corridor area, which does support general commercial. As for the 17 suggested conditions, quite frankly, we were taken aback. You know, we struggled to narrow down to 4 at the city. But certainly in the spirit of compromise, since we're here asking, we are actually good with 15 of those conditions as worded. And it is the 2 that James mentioned that we had some objection to. The first one is, in the way we read it, if you look at the condition, it says it was requesting sidewalks along the Veterans Memorial right-of-way. We are going to have sidewalks throughout the internal part of this development, but we were not planning along Veterans Memorial, parallel with it. And if you look at the other projects that are already there, all the way to Highway 301, there are no sidewalks there, and those properties are already up and running. So there's nothing to connect to. The city, we don't have a similar requirement for the rest of our project there. In fact, I drove up and down Veterans Memorial. There is no sidewalk parallel or along Veterans Memorial, even at the Publix project. There's none there either. So that's the reason we didn't think it would be necessary there. They're going to be internal to the project, so you'll be able to use sidewalks to get to Kroger from this commercial project. The other condition that we asked to be deleted was dealing with the facades of a commercial building to go there. Well, what we are marketing this out parcel for are your national franchise businesses and restaurants. They come with a package. They've already got prototype buildings that their business would go in, and to to put this on them, it's just going to make it difficult to market that property since they already have their standard buildings. So it's those two as the only ones that we felt were not necessary, and our community would still be protected with the remaining 15 conditions, and I think the Planning Commission agreed with us. And so that is their recommendation, is to pass the highway commercial zone with the remaining 15 conditions, but deleting number 2 and number 7. That's kind of our whole thing. We'd love to bring this project to the city and the county. And we would need your vote, however, to make this a highway commercial property. We'll try to answer any questions that you have. Thank you.
Any questions or comments from the board? I do have one. James, can we add a condition in there that they can't build any more chicken restaurants on that piece of property?
Chicken wing.
It's a joke, y'all.
We'll try not to market another one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I will say one thing. If you look right up the road, I stay right up the road from this.
Whoa.
Right up the road. But my wife will be happy.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'm going to call for a motion on this item.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept this rezoning with the deleting 2 and 7 with conditions, all except 2 and 7.
Second.
All in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
All right, sorry about that. Agenda item number 4 tonight is also an application by Southeastern Property Acquisitions LLC, who has submitted the application to rezone approximately 1.13 acres from an R25 zoning to highway commercial, again, for the purpose of creating a general business, and location is adjacent to the previous agenda item on Veterans Memorial Parkway. This map, again, I think it's highlighting the previous parcel, but it's going to be the green parcel just to the south in the, okay, yeah, thanks, Dow. It's not the flag lot, but it's the one with the more road frontage there. So again, same use, really won't go over many more of the details. This is the property as it is when we place the zoning sign. And if you've driven down the bypass, you know what it looks like. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it over to you or Mr. Rushing if he wants to add anything about this case.
I've got nothing else to add. It's the same comments. It is owned by Dennis Rhodes, the smaller parcel, but we have it under contract as well. And we're looking to just put it all together as assemblage to do this whole development. So same comments. We'd also ask conditions number 2 and number 7 to be deleted, but the other 15 we would accept of the conditions. Thank you.
Question or comments from the board? Okay. Have a motion on this item?
Same motion, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion that we accept this rezoning with conditions except for 2 and 7 to be deleted.
All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Looks like we're getting a Kroger.
All right. Agenda item number 5 tonight was, the application was submitted by myself, James Pope, as the Planning and Development Director of the Bullitt County Board of Commissioners. The application is to rezone approximately 135.27 acres from a PUD 1 planned residential development zoning to an R40 residential 40,000 square foot lot minimum zoning. And this is due to the expiration of a previous plan unit development approval, specifically subject to section 1210 of the Bullock County zoning ordinance. The property is located on Pretoria Rushing Road and Burkhalter Road. And in our ordinance, the zoning ordinance allows for plan unit developments, which plan unit developments are a way of creating flexible developments where you have some unique design that creates, again, a development that may not meet exactly what the ordinance states, but your trade-off is you feel the design is a good trade-off for density and other items. You typically get more amenities with planned unit developments, and it allows a developer some flexibility to, stay in a modern type development where sometimes our ordinances may not anticipate different design features that are common today. However, planned unit development zoning throughout the country is common to have a time limitation. And so our ordinance does have a time limitation in the planned unit development approval. And if in 1210 states that if a significant or if construction has not been completed or begun in 2 years from the approval date, the Planning and Development Director shall bring before the Board of Commissioners the question of, or the petition to rezone the property back to the way it was before. So this property, 135 acres, was previously zoned as an R40 in its entirety. So it's all residential zoning. General location is located on the star southeast of Statesboro. Pretoria Rushing Road goes really in the middle of the development. It's on both sides. You have the S&S Greenway or railroad. It's not labeled, but the Greenway is on the left side, southwest side of the development, and Burkhalter is on the southern property boundary. And this property was zoned with a zoned PUD 1 in 2014. And so its expiration date would have been 2016. As you see, the area around had some development at the time. It was a developing area, still is a developing area, and areas I'll show you in a minute. But this was the plan originally produced for the original concept plan. And so for this to really become activated, the developer would have had to file a final plan, which would have allowed for further design and production of the development. And so with that and the time limitations that our ordinance allows, we get to look at it not in 2014 numbers really, but today's development numbers. And so this map is produced by the Planning and Development Department, shows area rezonings and active developments both in the city and county surrounding or nearby on Burkhalter Road, S&S Railroad Bed Road, Pretoria Rushing Road, and then up towards Highway 80. And so, again, and really since 2020, we've had a good bit more development along Burkhalter Road. And so with that in consideration, staff holds to the recommendation that we rezone the property to an R40. And if the developer wants to come back, with a revised plan or revised traffic study that may anticipate some of the traffic improvements that would be required along Burkhalter, then this is an avenue to make that happen. So you go to R40 zoning, and then if they want to come back with a PUD plan down the road or whenever, it would give us a second or another chance to look at any potential improvements that may have changed since 2014. And with that, just some of the photos of the property when we place the sign on the parcel. But it is an area that, again, is growing, is a growing area for Bullitt County and City of Statesboro. And again, I'll look at the map there, and then because this is the normal zoning procedure, we do have the developer here tonight that, can answer questions as well. So since, with that being said, I'll ask or answer any questions y'all may have, or we can go to the opposition time and go from there.
Before we go any further, does the board have any questions? Okay. You can go ahead and call you.
Okay, Mr. Robert K. Bell Jr. signed up first.
I'm going to defer my time to Mr. Rushing.
Mr. Rushing, Mr. Stephen Rushing.
I'm sorry you get me again. Steve Rushing. This time I'm acting as attorney for the opposition. It's new for me. I'm usually here for the applicant, but in this case, the applicant, I guess, is the zoning administrator's office. But I do represent R&H Land Holdings, LLC. That is the property owner. Of course, Mr. Bell is its principal. James, that was a good summary. In fact, this property was zoned a PUD many years ago by another Board of Commissioners, but at least one or more of you was on that commission. We are under this section 1210 of the zoning code, so it comes before you as a petition to rezone it back to R40. So I'm here to object, to oppose that, and to ask that you allow the PUD to remain at least another 2 years, and let me explain. It is true that our construction has not commenced. However, the principal reason for that is after our submitting our PUD, it just was determined to be best for this project if we had public infrastructure, water and sewer, rather than a large septic system on this property. And so after making that decision, we have been trying to ride out getting City of Statesboro water and sewer to this property. And now, this many years later, it is only a stone's throw away from this tract of land. In fact, only one tax parcel separates this tract from the city limits on S&S Railroad Bed Road. And right there within the city limits there is an existing PUD that is a City of Statesboro PUD. Also, if you go up Burkhalter Road, there are two tax parcels, but they're owned by the same landowner between us and the city limits on Burkhalter. And at that location, there is another City of Statesboro zoned PUD. So, I mean, it's been coming over these years. It's not been dormant. And it is, I mean, we're right on the cusp of it being at our property, and we can commence, our whole development. We have received from the City of Statesboro a will serve letter, which indicates not only that the city will serve this project as it is currently proposed or zoned as a PUD development, and more importantly, that letter states that they have the capacity to do that. I did not get the letter to the staff in time to get your packet. I don't think. I just got it. I was out of town But I do have it with me tonight, and I think they do have a copy now. I may have sent over the weekend from the city of Statesboro. So we have that already in our hands. Clearly, the prior commission believed that PUD was an appropriate zone and voted so even before the water and sewer has been extended to where it is now for those same reasons, and even more so. PUD makes sense now, particularly the PUD one that we have proposed. We fully expect it to be to our site within the next 2 years, and we can commence. It may have been alluded to that there may be some traffic concerns. Certainly on Burkhalter, you've heard that before. But this tract is unique. As you see, it actually abuts 3 different county roads going in different directions. There's the S&S Railroad Bed Road, Pretoria Rushing Road, that split up our property, and of course on the south is Burkhalter Road, but we only have one access proposed onto Burkhalter Road. And all our other proposed accesses are on these other roads that I just mentioned. And we also understand that there is proposed some additional improvements along Burkhalter as it relates to those concerns on Burkhalter, but we do have these other options for this tract of land that could get us out to Highway 80 rather than to 67. As for the comprehensive plan, this tract is designated within the suburban neighborhood character area. And if you look that up in the, again, the Smart Bullet 25 plan, a PUD is anticipated in this area. And actually R40 is not listed in that character area. The highest density zone that is listed in the plan, the comprehensive plan, is R25. But PUD is already in there, in this character area, in our comprehensive plan. So it's our assertion that the comprehensive plan actually supports retaining the PUD zone over returning to an R40 zone. I would like to address the ordinance itself because obviously that's what brings us here. It expired many years ago, and frankly, when nothing really occurred, we just kind of assumed that it was okay. But certainly now we understand why it's back before you. What we did check with some other jurisdictions that we deal with, City of Statesboro, Effingham, City of Midland, they have similar ordinance. Some of them are called a flex plan, some are called a PUD. One of them did not have an expiration on their flex plan. The City of Statesboro does, but as when we check with them, they have never implemented the expiration. And if I'm not wrong, I believe this is the first time that Bullitt County has also attempted to revert a plan based on this expiration. So I just think it would be of some legislative economy to leave it as a PUD rather than to go back through the whole rezone process again. We just need the water and sewer, which is almost there. If we need another time limit for this to expire and come back before you, we think the 2 years, we feel certain now where the city infrastructure is that we will have that during that time. If you wanted to do away with the expiration altogether, we'd certainly be fine with that. But I think 2 years would get us where we need to be. So it is our request that you not accept the zoning administrator's petition, but that you deny it so it does not return to R40 and it will stay as the PUD 1. The same PUD ordinance does say that if we go to change it any from what our plan was, we got to come back before you anyway. So with that, we ask that you turn down the application, let it stay as the PUD 1, let us develop this project. We'll try to answer any questions. Thank you.
Who wants to
Chairman,
go first?
Can I make one point?
Yes, sir.
James and I discussed this earlier, but if you decide to deny the R40 and leave it as PUD, you might want to put a condition in there that puts a time limit if you want to, because the ordinance is really silent as to what happens if you deny it. So if you don't put a condition, it's unusual, maybe unprecedented to put a condition on a denial, but if you don't deny it, then I think it basically would be in perpetuity, or either, I suppose James at some point could come back and say, we're going to petition again to rezone it. But I think just to make it clear for everybody, if I would put some sort of time limit on there.
Thank you, Mr. Akins.
Just curious, James, what was the density on this PUD? Of how many houses they were projecting on that?
The original plan called for a maximum of 500 units, and then the decision sheet that the commission, or the conditions that the commission placed on the property at the time allowed for up to 7.2 units an acre, which is about 684 units based on the buildable area. So 684 would be max density.
Whenever you give us these updates on the numbers of subdivision houses available, have you included any of these numbers as part of that total number that we have available to build on?
No, the total number that I was including in the pipeline for housing numbers did not include this PUD or there's one on Highway 67 that has expired as well, and y'all will see that next month. But that one was, I think, 400 units, but
So that's another 1,000 units with these two PUDs that you're talking about?
if you looked at both of them together.
Okay. Well, I think the big thing is the ordinances that we follow as a county says after 2 years, you shall revert it back. And I think it's going to be a bad precedent if we sit there and pick and choose what we do with that. Obviously, this should have been done back in 16 or 17. I don't think you were here at the time. I know I wasn't on the board at that time either. But how many more PUDs do we have out there that's getting, or at the expiration, just that one on 67?
Currently, there's one more, and then there's two other approved PUDs that I guess time will tell. They're still in their allotted time to start construction, but
Okay. I just think it's bad precedence if we go against our own ordinances.
Any other questions or comments?
Just a comment that I would say that, now these are going on city water and sewer, so that's gonna take care of our septic tank problems. Because it's gonna be developed either way.
Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Yes.
I have concerns about the traffic on Burkhalter. It needs a rest or a cooling down period for the number of people. The difference between a PUD and R40 is probably 2.5 to 3 times the population. Georgia Tech study said we have enough houses for 9 years. Not to mention the pressure on the school system. Those are my concerns.
May I address those?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman? Valid concerns. Again, I did try to address those in my initial comments, that we only have one access to Burkhalter, and so, you know, the people that will be using that road, if Burkhalter continues to get worse and the anticipated improvements don't help that, they have other options from this tract of land. They don't have to get on Burkhalter. We do have one in our plan of the 6 accesses. Just one is to Burkhalter, so that will be up to those using it, whether they would choose to get into that traffic or not. They have other options. As for the Georgia Tech study, I do think the market really would be the better determination of how this would develop, but I do expect that this kind of project may take 9 years for it to fully develop. This is not a 1-year thing, or even probably even a 5-year thing, but you're looking at several years for this to be implemented, but we would be looking to commence it within the next 2 years if y'all follow Jeff's recommendation and do put an additional time where we would have to come back if we don't commence. But we do anticipate doing that within 2 years if that's what you decide to do.
James, just for clarification, is a PUD the only thing that has a time limit on it as rezoning goes?
That's correct, currently. Yeah, so there's no auto reversion back to the original zoning. It's really got to be initiated. There's some action that you have to file and go through this zoning procedure law. So, we can't just, revert it back all of a sudden, so.
Any other questions or comments? Mr. Davis?
That you mentioned other options, you do have an option to let the city of Statesboro annex this in and let them handle this.
That could be an option in the future, if that tax I'm sorry, yes, if those tax parcels I mentioned that lie between our tract and the current city limits, they would have to annex first. But if that does happen, then that becomes another option. Yes, sir.
All right, if there's no other questions or discussion, I'm going to call for a motion on this item.
Make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second? All in favor? All opposed? Motion fails 2-3. Believe we have to have another motion to disapprove the item. Is that correct, Jeff?
Yes, sir. You need a motion, yeah, to deny.
Do I have a
yeah.
motion to disapprove?
Mr. Chairman, I make a, motion that we, deny the return to R40 and keep the PUD 1 and a 2-year limit.
Do I have a second? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 3-2. I believe that wraps up our zoning for the evening. And we'll move into our regular agenda. Before I entertain a motion to approve the general agenda, do we have any discussion or modification desired by the county manager or the board? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the general agenda?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor? Motion carries unanimously to approve the general agenda. I believe the first item on here is public comments.
We have Miss Anita Knapp. No, Mrs. Knapp. Okay, no.
I need a nap. Okay. No public comments. Moving into the consent agenda. Got 2 items on here. Number 1, approve the minutes from Tuesday, December 16th, 2025. And number 2, approve the executive session minutes from Tuesday, December 16th, 2025. Do we have any discussion on these items? And if not, I'll call for a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Motion carries unanimously to pass the consent agenda. Next up is new business. We've got Assistant Public Works Director, Mr. Robert Siemens. And I'll let you come up and discuss what we're talking about here.
Good evening, Robert Siemens, Public Works. Come before you this evening, Commissioners, to request a replacement work truck for our solid waste division. Staff recommends and requests the consideration of a motion to award the purchase of a 2026 Ford F-250 Super Cab pickup four-wheel drive to Allen J. Fleet Sales in the amount of $51,103.58. This is through the Georgia State bid contract. The total cost for the requested item is $51,103.58. This item is to be purchased with SPLOST funds allocated in this year's budget for the solid waste division. This is in the budget package that was approved for this year. And I will answer any questions that you have.
Any questions or comments? Okay. Hearing none, I'm going to call for a motion on this item.
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Welcome. Mr. Ron Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ron Nelson Engineering. Come before you this evening asking for approval for a contract with Pate Dawson. This is associated with our Hightower Road, Josh Smith Road project that we have that's forthcoming. The document for procurement for those two roads is about 80% complete. We'll be moving towards procurement for construction services later this month in January. However, I'd like to go ahead and get a contract with Pate Dawson, who is the engineer of record, who developed the plans for this project. They will be serving the county as project manager and doing the construction engineering inspection. Would like to move forward with trying to approve this contract with you folks tonight in the amount of $169,500. This is not a lump sum. This will be paid for on an hourly basis. We anticipate 15 months of construction and need these folks on the job, basically providing boots on the ground for the county during the course of construction delivery. Any questions?
If there's no questions or comments, I'm going to call for a motion on this item. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Did you get your second?
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Mosley. Okay, moving on to commission and staff comments. Mr. Elder, do you have any comments for us tonight?
Yeah, I just wanted to give council, I guess, the best update I can just on health insurance. I know you got the emails that everyone else did. So we are self-insured. We do use, I think, the official TPA, but anyway, they manage our claims. So it's a contract relationship. We work through Cigna. That helps control our costs. Cigna still going through the process of trying to negotiate with East Georgia Regional. So that's where we're at. The contract ran out December 31st. We know they are still talking, and we'll see where it comes out. That's the only thing universal about health insurance is it's no fun at all. So this is part of that. You know, you may hear from employees, it's frustrating for them, it's frustrating for all of us, but it is a balance to try to, control cost. And I'm well aware, paid a very big premium increase this year. So we'll continue to work through that. We have Mark III, they're aware. We've met with Cigna reps as well. And just, it seems like we are a lot, and we are a fairly large group, but you're talking about Cigna, so they're representing private interest and employers and everything else. So we're not the only fish in their pond as far as who they're representing and trying to go through. So hopefully we get some resolution soon. And it is tough being in the market we're at. There's not a whole lot of competition with East Georgia Regional at this point, but as we grow, I would imagine we'll get more interest, and competition never hurts.
Any comments from the staff? Y'all mighty quiet tonight. And commissioners, any commissioner comments?
Mr. Hendricks, is Stilson up and running with the ambulance service down there?
Yes, sir.
Started January 1st?
1 hour before midnight.
That'll work. That's what I'd like to hear. I know that area's been needing it for a long time. I've traveled those roads back and forth to Effingham quite a bit, and that's much needed service that we needed down there. I appreciate that.
And if you would, I'm just going to ask Mr. Tillman to come up and explain the process that's going on out there, or what we've gone through to get to where we're at with that station.
Which part of that, sir?
All of it. We had an old volunteer fire station out
Are
there.
you talking about the renovations?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't have the exact figures. I don't know if the warden has captured those yet, but once again, the warden was able to coordinate with state officials to make sure that we keep as much skilled labor at our county prison that we can. Again, these guys are, it's unfortunate they have to be in prison, but they are, you can go, as many of you have, and talk to them, and they are very happy that they are housed at Bullock Correctional for reasons I won't get into. But once they get here, the warden vets them and goes through their skill sets, and they're then assigned to a detail supervised by various individuals. We have Mr. Newman, who supervises the detail. Recreation has some details. One of those is the construction details, and we have several others. But we utilize that supervised skilled inmate labor to renovate numerous facilities. They even do work up here occasionally, depending on what the workload is. But we were successful in a fairly major renovation to that station that allowed for modern living unit, a place to safely and securely reside and to house equipment. And it is a much needed service to that area, as Mr. Newkirk mentioned, so.
And where it's just EMS right now, I understand there's a plan to add fire out there 24/7 as well.
Yeah, I will have to defer to the chief on that for his plan. This is part of his master plan. But as we all know, he's going to be coming to you asking for support in that area at the appropriate time.
You'll see, you're getting an email tonight, but yeah, we're working on some plans. That's what I'd like to do, some longer range capital planning, and tying a financial plan to it as well. So all these plans do cost something, so trying to help our CFO better plan long range and what it's going to look like.
And as soon as we're ready for it, Dow will be putting something out to y'all and to the public for some type of open house out there so that the residents in that area and anyone can come out and see what we've done.
Thank you.
We don't always need a new, bright, shiny building to accomplish the mission. So I think overall taxpayers will be very satisfied with what's been done and the resources that have been put into that and saved as a result of that work.
Thank you.
Mr. Tillman, while you're there, I just wanted to mention something. It just kind of ties in to what you did with the inmates and all. And I know he has wore several hats in the last year or so. But Mr. Tillman and the warden were going to have a, what did y'all call it for the inmates, training center for them that we was talking about having that would help us greatly with our workforce. And it's just mighty funny that all this come about. I talked to Danny Wise today with his help, inmate help out there, and he was telling me how when they do, like one had another year left, and he would leave with a heavy equipment operator's certificate to where he could get a job. And I know you were pushing that when you were the warden and after you were warden. But
Yes, just.
if you wanted to touch on that for just a
Yeah,
minute.
just to recap, I know we have some new faces since we talked about that probably. There's a mechanism in place through State Department of Corrections called a transitional center. And we do send a lot of inmates, the warden does, that are preparing to go home if they're within a year or 2 years sometimes. It depends on their specific sentence. We will lose those inmates because they have to go to a transitional center, and we do not have one here. So they may go anywhere in the state to finish out their sentence. And when they're there, they go through some additional programming, counseling sessions, how to interview for a job, that type of programming. And then they will be taken to an employer in the area that has agreed to take on these guys and try to work them back into society. The law is in place where that inmate, while he's in the transitional center, has to pay room and board. His paycheck comes back to that facility first. They put a majority of it in the bank for him so that it's there or her when they get out. But room and board is pulled out of that. They go out and work just as we do during the day. You don't know them from anyone else. They're in civilian clothes, day or night, and they come back and reside at that facility. During that transitional phase at the center, they're drug tested regularly. They're checked on regularly. So a lot of places really seek that type of employee to work with them because they know that they have more supervision over them than anyone else would. So The only thing keeping us from doing that here as a county is space. We need bed space. It does not have to be as secure as what we have out at the prison, but it would be a secure facility, and it would be up to the funding available and what you as a commission wanted to do, whether you wanted 10 beds, 20 beds, 30 beds. I don't have current numbers, but we'll have them for the next meeting, Warden. What we did a couple of years ago was we went around, looked in the state system, and any inmate that was from Bullock County or a county that touches us that was within a release point, because about 95% of the inmates in the system are going to come home. They're going to be our neighbors. So it makes very good sense to go ahead and bring them back if they're coming here anyway, under a supervised condition. Try to integrate them into the community with a job and with support.
But point being, after they pass all their grades, and you can use them for y'all's workforce.
Exactly.
Our road
Certainly.
department workforce, that they doing the work now anyway, but. it's not-
Exactly. We have several jobs within Public Works that would, you know, we have inmates doing that now, and some have certainly expressed their interest in staying. But again, we end up usually having to send those out. Very few, what we call max out. Their sentence expires while they're here. We do have some, but most of them go into a transitional center setting first.
Thank you, I just wanted to touch base.
Okay?
Any other commissioner comments? Okay. I got two announcements I'd like to make before we leave. First one is we sat down today and added some town hall meetings to the calendar for the year. The first one is going to be scheduled for the 10th of February. It's going to be at Willow Hill up in Portal, and it's going to run from 6 to 7:30 in the evening. We've got two more scheduled later on in the year, and once we get the location locked in on those, we'll publish it on the website there. The other thing that I want to remind folks about is after our next meeting, which is the 17th of January, we will be having a work session to discuss septage and ways, some of the courses of action that we could take as far as managing septage within the county. So without any other further questions or comments, I believe that concludes our meeting, and I'm going to call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor? Motion to adjourn carries at 6:42. Thank y'all for coming out tonight.